Let me ask you something. When the power goes out at your place, a storm, an ice storm, the grid just giving up like it does more and more these days, how long before the food in your refrigerator goes bad? A day? Two? If you don't open the door? And then it's all in the trash, and you're standing in line at the store with everybody else fighting over the last loaf of bread. Now go knock on an Amish family's door during that same storm. They don't lose a thing, not one jar, not 1 pound of meat. 'Cause they never trusted that humming white box in the kitchen to begin with. They feed a whole family through the winter, through any outage, without a single watt of electricity. And they've done it that way for 200 years. The modern world sold you a refrigerator and called it progress. And it's a handy thing, don't get me wrong, but it made folks forget how to keep food the way our grandparents did. The way that don't quit the second the lights go out. The grocery stores, the big food companies, they're just fine with you forgetting. A man with a full root cellar don't panic buy. A woman who cans her own beans don't need 'em. I've watched the old folks do this my whole life, and it ain't complicated, and it ain't expensive. It's a handful of old methods stacked together that'll keep your family fed no matter what the power company does. And at the heart of it is one cool, dark little room that does the work of a dozen freezers for free, forever. Stick with me, and I'll walk you through every piece of it. Here's what nobody tells you. Refrigeration don't preserve food. It just slows down the rot. The second that compressor quits, the clock starts ticking. The old ways don't slow the rot. They stop it cold, permanent. The center of the whole thing is a root cellar, just a cool, dark space dug into the ground or built into a north wall. Stays about 55 degrees year-round, summer and winter, with no power at all. The earth does it for free. Potatoes, carrots, apples, onions, squash, cabbage. They'll keep down there for months, sometimes clear till spring. That's your fridge, and it never sends you a bill or quits in a storm. But the cellar's just the start. For everything else, the Amish put it up in the glass. Canning. A jar of green beans, a jar of beef, sealed hot. That food is good for years sitting right on a shelf at room temperature. You open it in January, and it tastes like the day you put it up. And the third piece is the oldest one of all. They keep the dry goods deep. Flour, beans, rice, oats, salt, stored in sealed buckets, down low and cool. The old-timers always said, keep a year ahead, and a storm's just weather, not a crisis. Now, why don't more folks live this way anymore? There's no money in it for anybody but you. A root cellar don't have a monthly payment. The whole modern food system is built on you running to the store every few days, dependent, paying full price, with nothing put back. If you want the full how-to, how to build a cellar and stock a year ahead, it's down in the description below. Tell me in the comments, did your grandparents keep a root cellar? The old ways always did know best. Let me tell you how to build that root cellar, 'cause it's simpler than you'd think, and it's the cornerstone of the whole thing. You don't need a backhoe or a permit or a pile of money. The old-timers built 'em 3 ways. The easiest is to dig into a north-facing hillside. The earth on 3 sides holds that steady 55 degrees, and you frame up a little door on the open end. No hill? You dig down. Even an old chest freezer that's quit working, buried in the ground with just the lid showing, makes a fine little cellar for a family's potatoes and carrots. And if you got a basement with a north corner, you wall off a room down there, vent it to the outside, and you got a cellar without digging a thing. The two things that matter are cool and humid. You want it dark, you want a little fresh air moving through. One pipe low to let cool air in, one pipe high to let the warm air out. And you want a dirt or gravel floor so the ground moisture keeps it from drying your vegetables to leather. Get them two right, and that room will hold your harvest till the snow melts. And here's what you store down there, in order of what keeps best: potatoes, carrots, beets, turnips, cabbage, apples, onions, winter squash, garlic. Keep the apples away from the rest. They give off a gas that'll spoil your potatoes faster. Layer your root vegetables in damp sand or sawdust in wooden crates, and they'll think they're still in the ground. The old folks fed a family of 10 through a hard winter out of a room the size of a closet. No power, no bill, just the earth doing what it's always done. Now the cellar takes care of your roots and your fruits, but what about your beans, your tomatoes, your meat? That's where the canning comes in, and this is the skill the big food companies most wish you'd forget. 'Cause a woman who can put up 200 jars in a good harvest don't need their cans, their freezer aisle, or their prices. There's two ways to do it. High-acid foods, your tomatoes, your pickles, your jams, your fruit, those you can in a simple water bath canner, just a big pot of boiling water, and the heat and the acid seal 'em safe for years. Low-acid foods, your green beans, your corn, your carrots, and your meat, those need a pressure canner, 'cause it gets hot enough to make 'em truly shelf-stable. A jar of beef, pressure canned right, will sit on your shelf 2-3 years and open up tender as the day you sealed it. Folks don't believe me till they taste it. Start small. Put up what your garden gives you this summer, a few dozen jars of tomatoes and beans, and you'll have the knack by fall. The jars last for years. You only buy the lids once a season. And the third leg is your dry goods, the cheapest insurance there is. Flour, rice, beans, oats, salt, sugar, honey. The Amish buy 'em in bulk and store 'em deep, in food-grade buckets with tight lids, down where it's cool and dark, with a bay leaf tossed in to keep the bugs out. Stored that way, beans and rice and oats keep 10-20 years. Honey and salt keep forever. They don't spoil, period. A few $100s of dry goods bought right is a year of meals waiting in the cellar, immune to any price hike or empty shelf. Let me tell you about my grandmother. She lived through the lean years, and she never trusted a full belly to last. Every August, her kitchen turned into a factory, jars boiling, the cellar filling up, the smell of tomatoes and dill all through the house. And come February, when the ice storms knocked the power out for a week and the whole town was eating cold cereal in the dark, our table had stewed beef, green beans, and applesauce, all of it warm, all of it hers. She never once stood in a panic line at the store. She'd just smile and say, "I put it by in the summer. That's the whole thing, friend. The modern world taught us to live 3 days from hungry. A fridge full of stuff that goes bad, a pantry with a box of crackers, and a hard run to the store every few days. The old way is the opposite. You put a year by, and then a storm is just weather. A layoff is just a season. The empty shelf at the store is somebody else's problem. It ain't hard, and it ain't expensive. A cool, dark room, a canner and some jars, and a few buckets of dry goods. Start this summer with the garden coming in, and by the first cold snap, you'll be the calm one on the whole road. I put the whole plan down below. How to build the cellar 3 different ways. What to can first and how to stock a year of dry goods without spending a fortune. It's all in the description. And tell me down in the comments, did your grandparents keep a cellar or a canning pantry? What do you remember being down on those shelves? I read everyone. The old ways always did know best, and they're waiting for you to bring 'em back.